Okay, everyone, so this is my spoiler-free review of the latest James Bond installment, No Time to Die. This is the last film Daniel Craig is doing as the notorious James Bond. I was fortunate enough to be invited to a screening for this, and I got to see it on IMAX. And what I had done before this film is binge watch all of the James Bond films with Daniel Craig beforehand to be prepared. One, I'm really happy I did that because there is a lot in this movie that throws back, especially to the last film, but stuff even that throws back to Casino Royale. So make sure you refresh on these films. In particular, Spectre, you really got to refresh because there's a lot tying into that, which is actually surprising, but I do think works. I think what this film does really well is tie up previous plot lines that were left loose from other James Bond films and kind of honor the whole series with Daniel Craig as a whole and let it have a nice bow here. I went into this film with literally no expectations because for me, with the Daniel Craig films, it's been like, Casino Royale, really good. Then Quantum Solace, not so great. Then Skyfall, amazing. And then Spectre was like, eh. So, but you had to think like, okay, something's got to give because it's kind of been every other film for Daniel Craig here that's successful and really good. And then it happened again where with No Time to Die, I was so impressed with this movie. What I was most excited about was Cary Joji Fukunaga directing this thing because I loved how he did True Detective Season 1. He's a talented director. It was interesting to see him do something in a big budget film like this, and he doesn't disappoint. This was the best paced Bond film to me. It was the only Bond film out of the bunch with Daniel Craig that I didn't feel bored at any points. It was 2 hours and 45 minutes that felt like an hour and a half to me. And what Cary does so well as a director here is he just keeps it moving, but every single action sequence is so well thought out to make it unique and different than typical Bond action sequences. And it has the best opening sequence of any Bond films, hands down. And I argue out of this Daniel Craig saga here that it has the best third act out of any of those films. So where I would compare it to is my favorite was Skyfall, but what I thought this did better than Skyfall was that I wasn't crazy about the third act of Skyfall, and I thought it really slowed down and got boring, but this didn't feel that at all. I felt like the whole movie I was on the edge of my seat, really into it, and what was most important was the focal point of this film was that it would give Daniel Craig a nice emotional send-off, and it does go there. People will be emotional with this film, and that was such an important payoff when you're closing out, when people get so attached to an actor who's playing James Bond that you give him a rightful send-off that gives him enough time. Now you're going to see things about this film that weren't so great, even though I'm praising it so much, was that Rami Malek, he's great, but his character's underwritten a bit, so it's not going to go down really as a historic Bond villain. He's very paper thin, but he does a great job and he's fun to watch on the screen. And another thing was, it's bittersweet because Ana de Armas literally is amazing in this film, like scene stealer, but she's not in the film really that much at all. So you're like, at one point you're like, where is she? Like, this was someone who just was amazing in a part, and it's bizarre how little she is in this movie. So that was a big complaint of mine. But going to the positives, again, Hans Zimmer doing the score this time around, amazing, and he does cool things with classic Bond themes, so I really appreciate that, and he really is another point to why you feel kind of pumped up during this movie. And it has twists that are successfully landed here that you don't really see coming, and again, I think that it's the perfect movie for, it's going to sound corny saying this, but like, you could take your dad and mom to this, and they're not going to be confused. They're going to enjoy it just as much as you do. It is truly a successful, entertaining action flick. And if you're not really into a lot of action, this isn't really the Bond for you. And it really is centered on how great the action sequences are. Plus getting, again, big character emotional payoffs for Daniel Craig and James Bond. Now, I was a little disappointed in the humor. There's very little humor in this film. So the wit's supposed to be taken down with Daniel Craig anyway as James Bond. That's not really his forte as James Bond, but here it could have used a little more humor. It doesn't even really try. And that's surprising because you got Phoebe Waller-Bridge here, who is great with sharp wit writing on this thing. You don't really kind of feel her script writing come out in this. Besides that, though, again, the new characters you're going to like, the old characters get enough screen time that you're happy about it, and it's really just an exciting, big tentpole movie to come out when it's desperately needed for theaters at the moment. And I think it will be divisive, though, for diehard Bond fans. I think some people are going to be maybe not as into the plot as you would expect, but it got me. But I could see why some wouldn't, and I don't want to spoil anything, so I won't go in that too much detail. But, you know, lower expectations. You're going to see a lot of reviews praising it today, including mine. I'm giving this thing a 9.2. It's my favorite Bond film out of the Daniel Craig bunch, but I could totally see the argument for Skyfall or Casino Royale being your favorite over this one. It's close. Like, it's so, you could flip it back and forth. Like, it's just going to be kind of remembered in that tier of those three Bond films of Craig, and we can kind of forget about Quantum of Solace and Spectre, but I'm happy that it's not in that other bottom tier with those two, and that it's going to be remembered in that, and I think people are just going to debate between Skyfall, Casino Royale, and No Time to Die, and I think either argument is valid. I don't think it's, like, so much better, in my opinion, than Skyfall, which is my favorite. I think it's a little better. So I'm happy, and that's great to end a series of 5 movies on that for Daniel Craig, and it leaves you excited for where this is going to go next. So when you see the film, let me know what you think. Comment below and let me know if you plan on seeing it, and let me know your thoughts just in general about the Bond films that have come out, Daniel Craig, and if you like them or not. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that as well. Oh, and also I want to mention, love Billie Eilish's song here in the opening credits. The opening credits sequence is really good too, so you won't be disappointed with that as well. So please follow me at Steve Varley Show on Twitter and Instagram for more of me. And if you really like what I do here, please subscribe so you don't miss one of my reviews. I do movie reviews, TV reviews. I also do celebrity reviews as well, so you're going to want to check that out. And I'll see you next time.